I was quite curious about DW and Doctor Who's It because, based on the title, I assumed that this was a parody of Doctor Who, and it kind of isn't really. It definitely refers to Doctor Who, which I'll talk about in a moment, but the episode itself just wasn't that interesting. And I was also kind of nervous because a couple of episodes back they parodied Tom Baker and the TARDIS with an episode focusing on Kate and Pal, and that was pretty terribly done. So I wasn't sure what to expect, but honestly, it wasn't very good. But the overall message is important. This is the second segment of the second episode of the 23rd season of Arthur, and in this one, everybody's obsessed with this new TV show called Doctor Who's It. And I will say, every time the characters say Doctor Who's It, part of my brain goes, oh, they're talking about Doctor Who on Arthur. So I kind of like the fact that the zit comes at the end of the name, and for a brief second, you get to think they're talking about Doctor Who. And there are, certain things. There was cyber. I don't want to say they were called cyber manatees. I don't think that's what they were called. But there were various other things where they kind of start to say the name of something related to Doctor Who, but we never get to see any actual animations of this TV show. And ordinarily, as I've mentioned several times, I don't like it when Arthur does that, when it cuts to whatever they're watching and animates the narrative. But because I'm a Doctor Who fan, or certainly was, I really wanted them to do that, and they never did. The one time I was hoping they would, and they didn't, and I can't believe it. It's just too ironic to be true. And the main narrative focuses on everybody watching Doctor Who's It, but DW wants to watch it, but her parents think she's too young because it's a scary show. And DW, with Bud's help, go to extreme lengths to try and watch this show. And what happens as a result, I'm not going to say, but there is a message in this that's mentioned right from the beginning with Arthur's intro, that sometimes you have to be a certain age to do things, and it's better to wait until you're old enough, mature enough, whether that's emotionally mature or mentally mature. And DW, well, DW doesn't want to listen to that. She wants to watch it regardless of anything, and I won't say what happens, but the message is pretty clear. It's not a very good episode. It's not really interesting. I feel like they were just trying to have fun with creating this sci-fi world where they have these, different monster names and other, words that don't normally appear in Arthur, and I think they were probably having fun with writing it, but from a narrative perspective, it's dire, and really nothing happens apart from the last scene I actually quite liked because I hadn't expected it, so that was good. But the rest of it wasn't very good, and they didn't even bother to show us some parodies of Doctor Who, and that's the one thing I would have wanted from this. So, needless to say, DW and Doctor Who's It, although it has an important message about waiting until you're older for certain things, really isn't a good episode.